Now you please listen. So regarding EEG, you have some idea. You might have heard about ECG. ECG is a technique used for detecting the functioning of heart, and it is known as electrocardiogram. And similar technique is known by the name EEG. It is electroencephalogram. So encephalon means brain. So that is why it is also abbreviated as EEG. Basically, the purpose of EEG is to study about your brain waves. In your brain, there are different types of waves are there. They are known as alpha, beta, theta, and delta waves are there. These are the four different types of waves. And each of these waves will be active during certain particular time of your during certain particular time. For example, when you are sleeping, you will have a higher dominance of these theta waves. And also when you are in a deep sleep, it will be delta waves. Your brain activity will be very less. So based on that, scientists have dictated that there are different types of brain waves based on the frequency. When frequency is higher, brain will be most active. That is why during the time of beta waves, the brain is active with a lot of mental activity. At the same time, you go to the delta waves, the frequency is very less, and you can see that the is not at all active. This brain is mostly in a deep sleep. So during deep sleep, the brain has a minimum activity, and during now, for example, you are working on a mathematical problem or some other when you need a lot of concentration, your brain will be intensively active, and that time your brain is actually mainly showing a high frequency wave known by the name beta waves. So this is how the brain waves are actually classified. Now how EEG is actually dictated is that while dealing with the EEG, you can see that there are a lot of small electrodes. You can see that. Next picture you can see that. These are the small electrodes. So many electrodes of different types of different electrodes are placed on different locations of your head. And each electrode will be picking up or dictating a small electric current. And there will be a very weak electric current, mostly in millivolt, because if we are using other techniques, we cannot feel that. But it's a very small, tiny electricity that is produced by your brain, and these electrodes will be picking up that tiny electricity, and it will be amplified. Amplified will multiplied several times. So, and that will be again taken to a computer and using the computer program, this amplified electricity can be measured in the form of a graph, and that is what we call EEG. So EEG basically, what EEG is basically doing is that it keeps picking up very fine, very small, tiny electricity produced by your brain, and that electricity will be finally amplified. And you might have heard about a device called amplifier. Amplifier is a device for increasing the strength of an electrical current. So same thing as a similar apparatus is also present in the use of the EEG. That will be increasing the strength of your electricity so that it can be easily measured or easily so that is how we are detecting the EEG. And during an EEG, the health care provider typically evaluates 100 pages. That is, the EEG will be measured for a certain duration of time, and during that duration of time, mostly about if you are thinking about 100 pages of EEG measurements are usually taken, and that will be compared. And based on that, we are finally coming to a conclusion. And he or she pays special attention to the basic waveform. What is the basic waveform? And also examine brief bursts of energy and response to stimuli. For example, when you are taking EEG and doctor is showing a torchlight on your eyes, how it is affecting your brain pattern. So that kind of technique are also employed by doctors to measure how your brain is responding, how fast your brain is able to respond when some torchlight is or flashlight is on to your eyes. So this kind of techniques are basically employed in the use of EEG. Here you can find that this is the technique used for EEG. These are all small fine electrodes and they are placed on different parts of your head. Then you can see that in the use of EEG, there are different types of waves which we have already seen. And normally delta waves are produced during deep sleep, and theta waves are produced by your brain during the time when you are sleeping. And when you are normally, for example, right now you are awake and resting. And during this time, it is the alpha waves. Waves with the frequency of 8 to 13 hertz. That is the most common type of waves. But at the same time, if you are intensely concentrating on something, your brain will be mostly showing beta waves. So basically, you can see the difference between these three different types of waves. Beta waves means high brain activity. Delta waves means low brain activity. So here the wavelength is more, higher the wavelength is less, or the frequency is more. So this is how we are actually dictating the different types of brain waves. Then how the brain will be responding when you are hearing some sound. For example, sound of a dog barking. How your brain is detecting. Which types of brain waves are actually produced. All this can be measured using an EEG. And basically, EEG's primary purpose of EEG is to detect brain disorders. So what are the different types of brain? And there is a disorder called epilepsy. Epilepsy in Malayalam we call abasmaram. So abasmaram, otherwise known as chudali. These are the two terms used in Malayalam. So epilepsy is present, then this seizure activity will appear as a rapid spiking waves on the EEG. For example, when a person is having an epileptic seizure or epileptic experience, usually there will be a very high intensity brain waves during that particular time. And that indicates that something is wrong with the electrical activity of your body or electrical activity of your brain. So that is a sure sign to diagnose whether a person had an epilepsy. Then you can also see that people with the lesions of their brain, lesions means injury, and some people will have injuries on their brain, and those will be having different types of brain waves. And similarly, if there is a difference in brain waves, that can be due to a stroke. Stroke means a part of your brain cells will be dead. Now, or it can also be due to the presence of certain brain tumor, an overgrowth in certain part of the brain. So all these will be reflecting in the way electrical current will be produced by your brain, and that is the useful part of the EEG. And based on this, we can easily detect whether how the brain is working, whether the brain is normal or everything is fine. So these are some of the advantages of using EEG. So tests can also be used to diagnose the disorder that influence brain activity like Alzheimer's and certain type of psychosis. Psychosis means mental problem, that is psychosis. And a sleep disorder known by the name narcolepsy. Narcolepsy means the person may not be getting proper sleep. So these are some of the different type of brain problems that can be measured or detected using the EEG. So here you can see that these are the different types, and just remember the names of these different types of verbs. And here you can see that there are three different types of verbs. One is delta verbs. Now in case of delta verb, that is the slowest verb. You can see that, and they are usually generated during deep meditation and in a dreamless sleep. When you are in a deep meditation, here you can see that this is how the delta verbs will be appearing. This is the delta verbs. So when you are in a deep sleep or in a deep meditation, you can see that our brain is producing this sort of brain, and they are generated in deep meditation and dreamless sleep. Healing and regeneration occur when brain is in this state. For example, if you are sleeping 6 hours or 7 hours a day, suppose tomorrow or today or tomorrow you are not able to sleep 6 hours. Next day, what happens is that you feel quite tired. If you had only had 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep, there is a difference of 1 hour or 2 hours. Next day, what happens is that your your body will be very tired, because the problem is that your body has not been recovered, or just like a battery, it has not been recharged fully. So that is a problem with then when you are not having enough sleep. So healing. So during the time of sleep, basically it is healing and regeneration. It's a kind of recharging, and is taking place. And if this recharge is not complete, your body may not be in a very good situation. Then another type of waves is known as theta waves, and that is also occurring during the time of sleep. Here also you can say this is a theta waves. So theta wave is the second type of waves, and that is also produced during the time of a deep sleep, during this time of sleep, but not in a very deep sleep. In a deep sleep, we are basically seeing delta waves. In a normal sleep, we are finding basically theta waves, and it is an indication that we are when a person is in theta waves, most of the time people may be having some kind of dreams or some kind of mental imagery or mental images you can see during the time of this theta waves. So theta waves is a time when a person is dreaming, and during a deep sleep people will not be making any sleep. Then we have alpha waves. Alpha waves are occurring during quite thoughtful times when you are sitting somewhere and you are simply listening to it. For example, watching your TV, you are not involving very much. But if there is some unusual activity, unusual news about something, then your brain may get very actively interested. So normally, when you are sitting in some place, your brain will be mostly producing alpha waves. Then we have theta waves are there. Theta waves is the most common type of waves, and they are occurring when one is alert and focused on a problem solve. For example, you are working on a maths problem or a physics problem or a genetics problem. During this time, your brain is somewhat active, and that time the brain is producing a wave known as a brain waves, beta waves, and beta waves is the most common type of waves when you are in your normal waking state. Then there is a gamma wave brain waves. This gamma brain waves, normally we don't use gamma brain waves much. Beta is considered to be the highest. So in this gamma brain waves, these are the fastest or most rapid type of brain waves associated with higher level of brain activity. So when the brain activity is more, when your consciousness is more, or your brain will be producing mostly gamma brain waves. So gamma brain waves will be having a more higher wave frequency than the beta. So here you can see that when what time these sort of different types of brain waves are produced by your body. So this is regarding an idea regarding how the brain waves are helpful in dictating the various type of diseases and also disorders.